Hey everyone, I'm Matt Dolan with Dolan Divorce Lawyers in Connecticut, and today I'm going to talk about whether or not you should date other people while your divorce is ongoing. That's a question I often receive from people. Now, there are no laws one way or the other. There's nothing that tells you you can't legally date somebody while your divorce is ongoing. But when you're deciding whether or not to date, you should just be aware that there can be implications to your dating other people. As an attorney in a perfect world, my life is easiest if my client is not dating anybody. It just makes things less complicated. But I also understand that there are realities to life, and you may not, want to put your life on hold for an extended period of time if your, divorce is ongoing for a year plus. If it's going on for a long period of time, you may feel that you're ready to date and that it is appropriate to date. So I just want to go over the risks that you face if you do decide to date during your divorce. One risk is that it can create animosity with your current spouse. If you may feel that you're ready to date other people, but if your spouse becomes aware of it can, upset them and make the divorce process more contentious. It can make negotiations more difficult if your spouse is very upset about you dating. In an ideal world, you will resolve your divorce through settlement, and that can just be a little bit more difficult if there is animosity between spouses. Another potential downside is that it can be confusing to your children if you have children, regardless of their age, really. It can be confusing to them. So, I would certainly recommend that you not introduce any new partner to your children while the divorce is ongoing, unless you are on the same page with your spouse about doing so. It can also be complicated in that if you are dating somebody during the divorce, your spouse can try to use that as ammo to make up a story, to try to paint the picture that you had an affair in the past and that you were dating other people in the past. It's certainly not conclusive evidence that you're dating people in the past and that an affair caused the breakdown of your marriage. But, at the end of the day, judges are human beings. And if that's the story they're telling, the fact that you're dating somebody while your divorce is ongoing will make that story from your spouse a little bit more believable. So, you're putting yourself at risk to having, custody impact, if a judge gets, the sense that you caused the breakdown of your marriage or you were having an affair, that can impact custody. It can impact alimony and, the division of assets in your case. So there can be financial implications to dating while your divorce is ongoing. It can also be confusing to you emotionally. I think before you date somebody after your marriage breaks down, you really need to consider whether or not you personally are ready to go to that next phase of dating other people. And that's something, you can go to individual therapy or some sort of, counselor to talk that through. Divorce is an upsetting process. And getting help and support as to your own, well-being and, that you can talk through whether or not dating is appropriate for you. And then, you may or may not care about this, but you potentially will be judged by other people if you are dating while your divorce is ongoing. That's a more minor concern because you may not care what other people think, but it's something to consider if that's something that would upset you, being judged by other people. So those are the basics of the things that you need to consider in determining whether or not you want to date other people while your divorce is ongoing. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our office. And if you are looking for an attorney for representation in a family law case, we would invite you to reach out to our office as well.